involved through all the planning process, not only that with the implementation, and then also with the monitoring and evaluation, so that we don't only plan and then ignore the adolescents, and that we make sure that they are involved throughout all the planning process. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Mr. Sami, let me come to you. When we say resiliency, what is the understanding of the municipal assembly? When we say resilient, and when you are developing your plans, what understandings come to mind when you hear the word resiliency?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ralph. Building the resilient city is about how we can address a shock in terms of issues that crops up, problems that we are facing, how we can able to absorb those issues and address them well. Those are how I understand about resilience. Then looking at the resilience, to address those issues, some example are our rules, our market, our future, the adolescents, how they can have access to some of the like infrastructure development, like children's park development, to able to the children will adolescents will be able to have access to games, parks to play, and all those things, to have recreational areas. So it is in our plan. In fact, we are trying developing those plans for a very long time. How we can design the city in such a way that these children can have access to this adolescent children's park they can play with and all those. So looking at our roads, what can we do to make it more beautiful for the people? Looking at our water system, how can we be able to address these water issues in some of the communities who are lacking those facilities? We look at the other facilities like the health, education. All these also form part of the building the resilient city. So looking at our medium-term development plan, we did a lot of engagement, and we're looking forward in future. You know, the plan is for 4 years. We have almost spent 1 year and some months, and we are on it. In fact, we started developing and implementing some of the activities of building the resilient city. So we'll continue doing it, ensure that all the adolescent views are also put into this discussion to be able to address the resilient city as Sunyani wants it to be.
Okay, I'll come back to you, but I want you to be thinking about this question. In implementing your projects, will you say that, are you really building a resilient city?
Yes.
No, I don't want you to answer it now. I want you to be thinking about it. All the projects that you are executing under the secondary city support programs and other projects being executed in Sunyani, whether under the central government sponsored program or internally generated fund or the common fund. When we are talking about resilience, do you think that what you are doing is truly helping to build a resilient city? I'll come back to you to answer that question. But let me go to the National Youth Authority. When we are talking about inclusion, building a resilient city, inclusion, including young people in decision making, right at the city level and at other level. You are coming from the National Youth Authority. How do you look at it? Are we really involving young people when it comes to taking decisions, especially at the city level? And likely enough, you are in Accra. So if Accra is taking decisions, are young people involved?
All right, thank you very much for the question. Yes, from the National Youth Authority's point of view, yes. But you see, our key role here is coordinating the other agencies, other departments, so as to ensure that certain decisions they make, the young people are involved. Like she did mention about the development of the National Action Plan for Youth, Peace and Security. We've been throughout the country meeting young people and then stakeholders, but we meet the young people, solicit for their ideas, put it down, and then that is what we are going to use to frame up this action plan. Away from that, yesterday we started the first ever mock sitting, National Youth Parliament mock sitting, which we had young people from across the country meeting, doing their own thing, and then the decision is taken to the youth committee in Parliament. So that is involving them. Another thing that we actually do is within some few districts also, aside you having the adolescent, we also have the youth parliaments in the tertiary institutions, and then in few districts and some regions have their regional youth parliaments. All right, so the whole processing is just to make sure that the youth feel involved, they know that their decisions are heard, and there is no activity that the National Youth Authority carries out without going down there to the grassroots, as we call it, to meet the young people, solicit for their ideas, and then develop the program with them. After that, we ensure that they partake in it, and then they have our full support in whatever we want to do. So in terms of inclusion, we have a policy now that whatever we do, not only having the young people, but especially persons with disability. So, for instance, the National Apprenticeship Program, we ensured that 40% was set aside purposely for the females, and then 10% for persons living with disability. So that, the 50 is shared among them again. So the 50, everyone is involved again. But then we intentionally, purposefully place the 40 and then the 10% down for them. And that is what we try to do in all our activities across the country. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Ishak, you have sat in rooms with which most adolescents have never get access to. What is the difference between being consulted and actually being listened to? Can you give us a moment where you felt that difference as an adolescent parliamentarian?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So, one moment I would say, I'll talk about the African Faith School, where after the journalism training, I had the opportunity, or I wrote a story about it, and then a 3-unit classroom has been built for them. And also the trip to India as well to witness their mock parliament, where it was an exchange learn program. We went there and then we had to educate them about the procedures or steps we used in establishing ours, and then they adopted it. And another moment was attending the World Urban Forum in Egypt, where I got the opportunities to meet many stakeholders, where I got the opportunity to also tell them about the RCA project. And now we have a group called the City Shapers, where every occasion when it's about to happen, we do a video about it. We do publications online too as well. So I'll say during my period in RCA projects, that's the moments that are memorable for me that I'll always talk about.
Okay, thank you. Prof, have you done any work or research when it comes to building resiliency? Have you done any research on that? If yes, what are some of the founders that you have come across? And what are some of the recommendations? have you ever, your department, have engaged government when it's come to building resilient smart cities?
All right, I'm happy that when you mentioned resilience, you've added smart cities. Okay, so I did some work with my colleagues on uh, urban agriculture as part of building resilient cities. If you go to Denmark and some of the countries, they've been able to improve on urban agriculture. So in other words, um, within the city, they've demarcated some areas where they engage in urban agriculture. Now, if you come to our part of the world, you ask yourself, the so-called urban agriculture that our people engage in, what do we see? Water from gutters, pesticides, and what have you. They don't actually get the support. And urban agriculture is a way of helping the city to be able to, like my brother said, to be able to absorb shock and other. So it's a way of helping the city to be, in terms of sustenance, being able to stand on its own. So the city is able to, when it comes to food production, flood, or what have you, the city is able to sustain itself. When it comes to flooding, we have Professor Amwako working on that. We have Professor Haji from Center of Settlement Studies. And those are the things, if we are able to overcome when they do happen, then it makes our city resilient. But these days, what do we see? And it's not that, the measures to curb some of these shocks are not there. They are there, but the implementation, you and I know. Our cities are supposed to be engineered. Tell me, those things that they put, the slabs and all these things, people find a way to block all of them. So you see, when it comes to building resilient cities that we are talking about, it is the city being in a position when something happens, quickly they are able to overcome. Flooding, are we able to overcome? When it comes to having issues with our energy usage, are we able to overcome? Unemployment, what are the situations? When it comes to agriculture, what is? So being able to put in place measures to ensure that whatever our cities find themselves, we quickly could come out of it and then make progress in all spheres of life. And so I want to believe that even the little that we are doing, if we are to ensure that we follow recommendations, then I think, and personally, what I've seen with our cities is that implementation has always been a problem. Implementation, when it comes to having plans, Ghana, I think we are the best in doing that. We have all the plans, but our problem, and that is causing us not to be able to build resilient cities, is that implementation is always lacking. Take any aspect of our plans, and you will come to terms with me. And I want to say that indeed, if we are to make sure and work hard, and then punish people for doing wrong, I think our cities will be better than they are. Take our market. We have beautiful markets. Do people patronize our market? By both buyers and sellers. We prefer to be sitting in car, somebody just brings something, and then we are buying it. Is that the way we want to move forward? I don't think so. So what I'm saying is that let's begin to enforce the rules and make it costly for people to do wrong when it comes to our cities. And trust me, we can do better than we are doing. And our cities will be very beautiful for us to live in. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So let me come to Mr. Kofi. We are talking about Healthy Cities for Adolescent program, which Botna Foundation, through ECORIS, have been implementing in 6 countries: Ghana, Ecuador, Colombia, India, and Vietnam. and Senegal. Yes. What are some of the evidence that you are generating from other countries when it comes to building resilient or healthy city for adolescents? The involvement of young people in decision making. What is the experience? What are some of the evidence that you are getting from other countries? Is it different from what we are doing in Ghana? Do young people have that opportunity in other countries when it comes to involving young people in building healthy cities?
Thank you very much for that question. Every country is different, and how adolescents are treated in every country is very different. In some countries, adolescents have a say. In some countries, adolescents are very quiet. Let's take it for example here in Ghana. You know, when some of us were growing up, it was quite challenging for you, a young person, to contribute to whatever is even done in the house. To, if your father says something, that is it. If your mother says something, that is it. Your contribution has no bearings. In the young and in the Healthy Cities for Adolescent program so far, if you look at all the experiences from other countries, you would notice that Foundation Botna purposively selected countries where the impact of adolescents are not necessarily being felt. Because remember, before we even started the whole program, we had a kind of an assessment to identify the various countries where we would have this implementation done. And in doing that, we're able to identify these particular countries and say, okay, if we are able to get young people to have a say in decisions that affect them within their cities, there might be a ripple effect. And we've started seeing these things. Let me just take one for example. The RCA program had the opportunity to visit India and study from India. And in studying from India, you were able to identify a framework where young people are able to identify their needs within their community and share it with their city authorities. This is the PSAF, the Public Service Assessment Framework. It has worked so well in India that has led to an establishment of a lot of open space places where adolescents can go and express themselves. And now RCA has seen the benefit of this and is trying to replicate this as well here in Ghana. That is why you started the training on it and have started working on it. So you can see that there's this similarity of locations where adolescents have not had their say. We have made the impact. We are now seeing that adolescents are playing certain roles in their local governments in their cities. So what is there next? What was studied here can be implemented here. Similarly, as Ishak said, when she had the opportunity to visit India, she had the opportunity to also be part of the first adolescent sitting that was also done by India.
Yeah.
This was a concept that India also came here and came to what? Learn from Ghana and are replicating that using how their parliament is there. And we all were there and we were very surprised about the way they were they were holding their city authorities for certain things that they expect to be seen. And at the end, the young people were saying that we never have the opportunity to talk to them like that, because it is only such platforms that has given them the opportunity for them to tell the duty bearers what exactly concerns these adolescents. And that is what we as a program have brought.
Thank you very much. I think we were in two cities in India, that Jaipur and Bhubaneswar. And you look at how Jaipur and Bhubaneswar have developed. They have a lot of public spaces around. So Sami, coming to you with my first question. Will we say that the assembly in implement your project that you are implementing now, you have smart, resilient cities in mind in developing your, because I have seen a lot of projects, the roads, the buildings, and other things, and I always use even the new outer road and the inner road that they are building now. If you go there and you see the design, there's nothing telling me that you are thinking about resilient city and smart city. If you see the design, if you look at the Kotokrum road, right from the urban traffic light to Kotokrum, and you look at that design, the road design, there's nothing showing that we are thinking about resilient and smart, creating public space for young people. So that's why I'm asking this question. In implementing your projects, will you really say that Sunyani Municipal Assembly, and I'll come to all the municipalities here, that do you think that what you are doing now is helping to build resilient, smart cities?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ralph. Looking at the project that we are implementing, as you have mentioned, we have a lot of projects on board under the Ghana Secondary City Program. And within those projects, there are some benchmark we need to, the World Bank is demanding based on the secondary city program. The purpose of the secondary city is to improve urban services and make it more resilient for the people living in those environments. So let's take, for example, you mentioned of road.
Yeah.
You know, in the road, they are expecting, World Bank is expecting some condition to be added to the, it's not the main construction alone. There should be a walkway, there should be a street light. That is some of the conditions. There should be where people, as I mentioned, the walkway where people have to pass. There should be a street light, and then including the main route where the traffic, the cars can pass. So these are some of the conditions they were given to us to follow to make sure that the city is resilient. If you look at the previous project that we've implemented, we have the Ghana, we have the street lights. That was our first package. The walkway was also one of the first package. There were two projects that we implemented for the first year. So that was where, if you can remember, it started from the Abisim to the runabout, the post office. There was you see that there was a walkway, there was a street light, according to make the city more beautiful. And then if you take another section of it, we have to construct a walkway alongside with the same project. And then it makes people have access to a walkway. You can move from in front of our municipal assembly, not municipal assembly, from the Sunyani Senior High to the town, where you can walk. There's a walkway you can walk around. So these are some of the things that the World Bank were looking for. Because if you don't follow their condition, they will not allow you to continue doing the project. So you mentioned that of the Kotokrum. I would say that project was under GOG. And you know, the assembly, we normally collaborate with them, but sometimes certain conditions, some of the projects, that's why we are talking about the decentralization. We have to relook at it, where some of the projects were packaged somewhere and it comes to the municipality. And when it happened like that, you can see that there are some features which supposed to be part of the project you may not see them. By the secondary city we are talking, so that's why you are seeing the Kotoko, some of the places you will not see the work we are featuring on the project. And then when you come to, apart from that, you see that the second, we were doing a lot of street lights because we saw that the town was full of darkness. So we started from another one from UNE right to the VRA, which is also another package we did. So those from the street from the VRA to the Penkwasi traffic runabout up to UNE roundabout, passing the Senate, you can see that all those lights were part of the secondary city we were talking about. Then there was another package that we did from the hospital. We did from the hospital to the municipal hospital to the regional hospital to New Doma. We also did another extension there. So if you pass there, you see that there was a lot of street lights along that stretch to make the city beautiful. And then we also did another package from New Doma to Yahima. Currently, the contractor is on site now, wanted to fix the transformer. And I'm sure very soon, within some few months, those stay at Yahima, you may see a very beautiful light on that stretch, because they are one of the areas that the assembly, my director is here, is one of the areas that we are much concerned because of the darkness around those areas. And then the same package, because we want to beautify the place. So there was a need to also come out with a market. So we are, as I'm talking, we are constructing some markets. When you go to Nana Bosoma, we are constructing some market there, some package around 121, other one is 96. We are trying to build, we'll make the first floor. Then when we get enough fund, we'll continue. We want to make it a story so that we don't mismanage the land, because the land is very scarce these days. So we are making it such a way that we can still continue up to a certain level to help the market women in more comfortable zones. And then there was another project that we were doing them around the magazine. You see that most of these projects were one of the projects that in the heart of the people living around magazine area. So we are also constructing some 1.4 kilometers side road over there for the people to have access to a good road. And recently, we also had some few flood issues that we were trying to address. You know, resilience, as Prof said, one of the critical areas, the flooding situation. You know, when it occurs, it affects a lot of inhabitants living in those areas. There was one of the projects that we are trying to address the issue now. Is if we go to around magazine down there, there was a flood-prone zone area, and we saw that there was a lot of water garnishing from the soil, and it is pulling it has developed a very big hole. So we decided to use some of the secondary city to do a storm drain there, just to prevent occurrence of disaster. So when this thing happens, and then so I would say that concerning about the children, the adolescents, we incorporate some projects like urban park. We have started. Anyway, it's not completed. We are still on the process so that the adolescent will have access to that park. It's around RC RC Basic School at Abisim. We are, if you go there, they've put all the lights are there. They planted the glass, but the glass they need to do some screening. They will screen it and read those that did not appear well. They'll correct them, and then that very soon that park, when we are able to finish, the adolescent will have access. And in our plan, we were trying to do a lot of things, like we want to develop the children's park into a modern children's park where we have the library, we have the gym, we have this thing. So we have the drawings, but we are trying to get some fund to able to do it. So in fact, we are trying our best to make Sunyani the resilience that we are talking about. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sami. So you think all what you have mentioned, we can say that Sunyani Municipal Assembly is building resilient and smart cities.
Yeah, we are on it.
Great.
We are on it.
So,
Small. We'll get there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Prof, I'll come to you, but I want you to be thinking about this question. As Ghana cities grow, what do you think is the sustained system that we need to put in place for tracking adolescent well-being at the city level? So I want you to be thinking about it. Let me come to National Youth Authority. Adolescent focal programs tend to be donor funded and time bound. So what is the rare risk in that model? And what should we do as a country differently?
All right, thank you very much. So you realize that when Boss was speaking, he ended with bad funds. We used to enjoy 5% common fund. You people advocated that we should be struck off, and some way, somehow, since last year, mid of last year, since last year, but I would say mid of last year, it went to court, and this year they concluded that we are no longer part, but we are still fighting for it, because other than that, then we have no funds. That becomes a challenge. And truthfully being said, then we are left at the mercies of the donor funds. And then if I'm having my money, I decide where it goes. And that actually ties the hands of the National Youth Authority. You understand? Nevertheless, we try to maneuver, try to link it up. For instance, because we are looking at the city, future cities. Last month, I was in Punkrugu seeking to get space for youth engagement center. It's something we are trying to hope that within every community or district, we have a youth engagement center. With that, we can furnish those places with machines, basically IT stuff. The whole idea is that so that the young ones enter there, they have the ability to discuss things that pertain to their well-being. And then we will have someone just to guide them through. Luckily, the DC gave us a nice place, which we are ready from next month going to ensure that we get a place ready. Other places in Volta region too, we've gotten a place. We are hoping that by next year, mid of next year, across the country, we'll be able to do that. Nevertheless, because our funds will be coming from the donors, if he says, I don't work in this region, then we have a challenge. And because everything they have, they also have to report to where they are getting their money from. It's time bound. But then we try to include sustainability. And that is more reasons why we try to involve the young people. So that after the project, then it becomes their modified property. Then they carry on with it. There are times that you do things without funding. But then you get the young people being committed to it, and then you realize that so far as they are committed to it, that project can continue to run. So we wouldn't do anything without them, knowing very well that perhaps the fund can only last 2 weeks or 3 months. But for it to be able to go on, we connect ourselves with the young people, and then we make them own the project and move with it. But then I'll use this opportunity to appeal to the districts and the assemblies so that they get us spaces for the youth engagement centers, so as to, they should be big enough. An open space like this hall, just that is all we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I will let Prof answer my question, and then I will come to Mr. Kofi. As I said, as Ghana cities grow, what will you recommend as a sustained system that we can use to track adolescent well-being at the city level? And then who should own it?
Thank you very much. First, I think we should mainstream adolescent responsive planning into local development planning. So adolescent considerations should be incorporated into existing